This is going to be a test drive for the brand new Mercedes-Benz EQS 450 Plus, first electric vehicle released inside in North America market. Come for a ride. First thing you'll notice right out of the bat while you're driving is how incredibly smooth and quiet this car is. Something that you definitely need to experience firsthand. It's hard to tell just off of reviews and things like that, but it is an incredibly comfortable car. A lot of tech in here that makes the drive real easy to navigate through day-to-day basis. Different driving modes that'll help kind of give you a different taste while you're driving. So you'll have Eco, Sport, Comfort. You'll also have an individual driving mode that'll give you basically a customization feel. You can change the steering wheel to Sport. You can have it in Comfort suspension. The Sport mode is going to really give you just a different feel in terms of acceleration, throttle response. The suspension stiffness is going to lower. You'll also have a sound associated with that, which you can kind of hear as you accelerate. You can turn that off if you want to. Eco is going to be the most efficient in terms of maximizing your range. It'll adjust some of the air conditioning. It'll also adjust how the throttle response is. So it'll kind of limit the throttle to give you the most amount of range that you should have. One of the best things that I think is in this car for technology-wise is going to be the augmented video for navigation. You can basically tell the car where to take you, anywhere you want to go, and it will put it in the navigation for the closest one to you, and then it'll have a live turn-by-turn camera essentially that pulls up in front and shows you, displays you on the screen, and it'll superimpose graphics onto the screen that show you exactly where you need to turn, the street name of what street you're on and what you need to turn. Makes it really helpful and also a lot easier to drive this vehicle on a day-to-day basis when you have systems like that, as well as the Hey Mercedes system that helps with changing radio stations, turning on your heated and cooled seats, turning on the massages, things like that. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Turn on my massaging seat.
I'm switching on the massage for you.
And so what's really cool about that, again, is that it turns on my specific massage. It doesn't turn on yours because it knows that I'm sitting in this seat and I'm talking from this side of the vehicle. So if I said turn on passenger side, it would turn on the other side. But again, it's just little tiny things like that that make driving this car really easy. There is a couple different variants for the EQS. There is an EQS 450, which is what we're currently in. That's going to be primarily rear-wheel drive, have a 350-mile range, 329 horsepower, and 0 to 60 is about 5.9 seconds. You'll also have the EQS 580, which is going to be an all-wheel drive system. So there'll be two motors that drive the front and the rear wheels. And what that will have is it'll have a little bit different of an interior. It'll have the hyper screen, which most of you have probably noticed online. That's what they marketed the most. But it'll have 516 horsepower, which will get you a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds. So big difference in power between the two. No difference in aesthetic. They are coming out with an AMG EQS, and those will be even more power than what the 580 has, somewhere around 750 horsepower, and a 0 to 60 of 3.4 seconds. So that one will also have the hyperscreen standard. Those two, as terms of driving dynamics, the AMG will probably be very different, but the 580 and the 450 are going to be very comparable in terms of comfort-wise, suspension, quietness on the road. All the EQSs will have different levels of recuperation in terms of the battery and how hard it's going to impose the brake. So the standard is going to be no recuperation. That's going to be like your everyday normal driving. It'll be basically like your normal gasoline powered car, where when you let off the pedal, it'll coast. Once you hit normal recuperation, that's where it's going to kind of start using the brake as you let off the gas, slow you down gradually. And then the third and strongest level is going to be strong recuperation, where it will kind of slow you down a little bit. That one's more of a one pedal drive, if you will. You don't necessarily have to use the brake as much, because as soon as you let off, it starts slowing down and it'll slow you down to a complete stop. So if you don't necessarily want to use the brake, you can use that strong recuperation, and that'll give you a feel for that. The EQS, they do come standard with the driver's assistance package, which that's going to give you the enhanced safety features, active blind spot assist, frontal collision prevention, speed limit assist, all those different kind of safety systems on the vehicle. Up in your display, you'll have a speed limit of what the current road speed is. If you go through a school zone, it'll also update and have the school zone speed limit on there as well. You are supposed to have like one hand on the steering wheel at all times, just so it knows that you're paying attention while driving. One of the really nice things that they added to the EQS is the new self-parking system. Whenever you're driving through a parking lot, basically scanning for parking spaces the entire time, if you do go into reverse, you can select which spot you want the car to park in. Have a choice of either reversing in or forward in, but it's really simple to use. You basically just choose the spot that you want to do, push the parking camera button, and then you let your foot off the gas and it'll do everything. It'll steer for you, it'll accelerate and brake for you, and then it'll center you right into the spot that you want to be in, which makes it really easy for both regular parking and parallel parking. If you're not super confident with parallel parking, it is an awesome system, so definitely use it if you have it. As you can see, I'm not touching the gas, not touching the brake, not touching the steering, and then it just throws itself in park right after it's done. So makes it really easy. It will pull out right or left for you as well. So if you're not confident about pulling out to the right or left, it uses sensors and everything, cameras, to make sure it's clear to pull out. But other than that, it's an incredible system, and it works a lot better than all the other previous systems beforehand. Well, thank you for going on a test drive with me with the EQS 450. Here at Mercedes-Benz Grapevine, we'll always have a test drive vehicle for you to test drive. If you would like to come out and actually physically experience this in person, definitely something that I recommend you doing.